How did you think you handled being thrust into the role of the ace on such a young team?
I think my coaches definitely prepared me really well, not only physically but mentally as well. So I was definitely very ready and excited to get back out there. I wasn't really nervous, and I think as a team, trusting my team and trusting that they're going to have my back regardless of how I play was really comforting for me. So I was definitely really excited to get out there.
How's that adjustment been like for you, just practice-wise, being in Eugene?
Well, it's a little different as far as, time change. Food's a little bit different here, but as far as practice, the girls definitely welcomed me with open arms when I got here. They were super nice, super supportive, let me know everything that we needed to do, whether it was little things like putting your clothes on a loop or, making sure you're running through a line or starting at a line. It was a very easy adjustment for me, especially with the help of all these girls. So,
working with a lot of different catchers as well, how's that relationship grown for you?
Just because we trust each other, off the field, and they've been such a huge help getting me here and kind of preparing me for how practices will go. It's been really easy. They're all super athletic and talented, and I know a couple of them have kind of had to pick up on a few things early since they weren't really necessarily planning on catching, but they've done a great job adjusting, and that's made me more comfortable having them behind the plate as well.
What made Oregon the right fit for you?
When I came on my visit, of course, meeting Coach Lombardi and seeing all the things that she had to offer for me, and of course her previous history with a lot of left-handed pitchers and everything, that was a huge seller. But also when I finally got to meet the girls and kind of watch them practice and how they talked to each other and how they reacted and how they welcomed me, I just felt like it was instantly the right fit. Like there was no other place I'd rather be. So.
When you're an off-speed pitcher, how important is it when you're seeing a lineup the second and third time to try and change things up a little bit based on either location or try and change speed as best you can? Especially, I realize an out pitch is still going to be off speed or change or curveball or whatever, but how important is it to try and change sometimes?
Well, with pitching, it's all about upsetting timing. So whether you're throwing 67 or 62 in a game consistently, having that off speed is always going to be important, because at this level, it doesn't matter how hard or slow you throw, they're going to catch up to it eventually. So just making sure that I hit my spots and, trying to I think Coach Lombardi and Coach Lang, they do a really good job at preparing us mentally, especially with film and just kind of trying to see what the hitter's looking for, what their tendencies are and stuff like that. It kind of gives us a little bit more of a better idea as to what to throw to them, when and where. So really my job is just to kind of focus and make sure I'm hitting those spots and doing what they want me to do, and usually that kind of takes care of the rest.
You're clearly going to be asked to go deeper into games more consistently than you did last season. This past weekend, at least, I know it's a small sample, but third time through the lineup is when they were really doing damage against you. How cognizant are you of those kind of splits and those situations coming up? You're breezing through them the first and second time through, the third time that's when they're attacking you for home runs.
Yeah, well, last year what a lot of people don't know is I actually played, I'd say 85% of the season. I had an injured knee. So trying to fight through that last year and kind of fight through the battles of going up and in and out of the lineup was tough. But right now, I feel really healthy physically, and so this being my first weekend, actually getting a chance to kind of show that and use that. Of course, there was a few things that I definitely need to fix, but I think they're just minor adjustments you got to fix in practice. Make sure you keep your endurance up, make sure your spin stays a little tighter longer in the game. I'm not necessarily worried about going 2, 3, 4 times through the lineup, especially with the defense like I have behind my back. Like the adjustments will come, the progress is definitely going to come with this team, so I'm not necessarily too worried about it.
What is your speed? What is your now your fastball speed? What's your highest speed on that? And how were you clocked last weekend and all that?
I'm not 100% sure. I know the fastest I've hit personally has been 67, and that was last spring. But I think this past weekend I was averaging around mid-60s, and then of course later in the weekend after a little fatigue, first weekend I think I was probably 63, 64. But hopefully that'll get up, once you start throwing and you get used to throwing that many games all the time. It'll definitely average back up to that 65, 66 range. So.
What was your personal highlight? The team backed you up a lot of runs, but what personally, was there a situation in this weekend that you felt really was the best for you?
For me, it wasn't necessarily a personal highlight. It was actually in the last game. It was when I want to say there was maybe runners on first and second, and it was right when Rachel made that error. It was the first error all weekend of our team. And the first thing she said to me was, "Hey, that's my bad, I got your back." And I said, "Oh, don't worry about it, I got your front, I'll get this next batter for you." And I think that's going to be huge for this team, is we're very solid defensively as well as at the plate, and just knowing that, if for some reason one of us isn't on our A game, we'll get the next one. And immediately after that, I think we got, I want to say, I can't remember exactly what happened, but we ended up getting out of the inning and we were fine. And then of course we came back in and Rachel's hitting balls left and right out of the park. So, just knowing that we have each other's backs and each other's fronts, that was my personal high, was being able to see the chemistry and the connection that this team had.
Besides the fastball and the curve, do you have anything else in the repertoire? Is that, I mean, those are the two that you lean on most, or
Yeah,
does it change? Or?
I actually threw a lot of rise balls this weekend. My rise and curve look very similar. So I threw a lot of those, a lot of change ups, you know, different off speeds, different like locations. It's more about, you don't necessarily need 100 pitches to be good, you just need to be effective. So just utilizing what I have is really all that I try to do when I'm out there.
You know, a lot of top talent at this tournament this weekend. What are your thoughts on just facing this competition and just the atmosphere that'll be around Florida?
I'm definitely excited. You know, it's definitely something that I think everyone looks forward to doing. I don't necessarily think any of us are worried about it. We're still going out there just playing the game we love and just trying to make sure we're doing the little things right. And the wins will take care of itself. The losses, you know, if they come, they come. If not, you know, that's just more for us. So that's really all that we're worried about. We're not necessarily focused on who's ranked and who's not, who throws hard, who doesn't. We're just more worried about playing our game and making sure we're doing the right things.
You ever see any of LSU's players in club ball or anything like that? I know Sinceri's also a sophomore. Are you making goods? I know locally close JMU to Vatek, but I don't know if you actually saw her or not, but you're familiar with them at all?
Yeah, I've actually played quite a few of the girls on the JMU team in high school as well as travel ball. At Virginia Tech last year, unfortunately those games got rained out, so we didn't get to play them. But I've played a lot of girls, you know, that were on I believe they're still on the LSU roster, you know, throughout travel ball the last few years. You know, so you'll see some familiar faces and you'll see some new ones, but at the end of the day, it's just, I mean, even if you played them in travel ball, you know, they could be different, just like we've progressed as well at our level. So it's just really about just taking care of ourselves and making sure we're doing the right things.
When you came in here, obviously a lot of things were rough since you first came here, but who have you seen that has been leading the team?
Honestly, I definitely think the seniors have done a really good job at maintaining everyone and making sure that we're all on the same page and we're all doing the right things, you know, whether it's in the locker room or on the field. So Cherish and April have done a phenomenal job at that. I think Shay as well as Haley Cruz both have done a really good job at making sure everyone's staying positive. And honestly, the freshmen as well, like, you know, they're freshmen and everyone thinks, you know, they're not going to be leaders, but every single person on this team is a leader. And I think they've all done a tremendous job at stepping into the shoes that they need to step into and kind of supporting each other. So I think all of them as a whole has been super surprising and humbling for me to see that happen for all of them.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you.